my parents are from Jamaica, and they grew up in the country side of Jamaica. So they grew up kind of in poverty, but not poverty. You know, like still in a environment that's okay, but still over here it looks like poverty. So they coming to Canada was like the best thing that could ever happen to them, like to escape the country, the poverty and, you know, all that. So they come over here and they brought their the ways and their upbringing and everything here, which was good because I learned a lot from them. But at the same time, we were living in Canada. So it was hard having parents that were kind of country in my environment because, like, my friends were, like, their parents were different, you know? So when you have parents that are kind of different, it was like a conflict because the way that my parents did things was different from how all my friends' parents did things.
What, you were not able to go to sleepovers, or like what? Give an example so I can.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed at sleepovers, and if I went to birthday parties, I would have to be the only one that would have to leave like after a certain time, and I used to hate that because I wanted to sleep over, but they didn't feel comfortable because they didn't grow up with that kind of a thing. Like anything that they didn't grow up with,
no, I hear you. Yeah, a little odd. Yeah, a little odd. Yeah.
Yeah, it's odd. Like, yeah. And you know how it is, like you tend to follow like Halloween time, and you just want to do what everybody else is doing. So it was kind of difficult. Now, I didn't know at the time that my dad was depressed. Mm-hmm. So he was the type of man that would come home miserable and take out all his frustrations that the world, now I understand, it was white supremacy, but I didn't know at the time. But he would take out all that frustration on us in the house.
Let me ask you, what would that feel like? You know what I'm trying to say? Because I've heard, like, you know, my own mother talk about her father, you know, growing up, you know, and he come back from work and what does that feel like? You know what I'm trying to say? As an empath, I mean, I'm assuming you don't know you're an empath as a young child, but you're still sensitive, you know?
Well, this is what it feels like. As soon as you hear the key, as soon as the key hits the lock and he's coming in, your whole body tenses up. And so he walks in and then he starts his yelling and rambling. He used to beat us, like, with a belt. And I found that I was, like, a pretty good kid, but I would get beat for not speaking up. Like say one of his friends came over and the friend asked me a question, and I would respond, but I would respond in a quiet voice. I would hear, "Open your mouth and talk." Like he would yell at me to open my mouth and speak up, speak louder. Or like we would just get beat for like the stupidest things, and it was just terror. And my sister, I have an older sister. Oh my God. My older sister, I guess, wasn't really his
biological daughter,
and he took like out all his frustration on her before he started on me. So I had to watch her get beat after beat and treated bad until to the day that she packed up her bag at 13 and left.
Wow.
And so I sat there all those days. I think I remember like just sitting on the couch, just listening to her get beat and her crying, like the sound of her screaming, and then he would come to me and make fun of her, make fun of the sounds of her crying.
Yeah.
Like he would come to me and make fun with wanting me to
empathy.
Make fun of her too.
Yeah.
And oh God, like it was just crazy. And the day that she left I was so sad because she left a note for my mom, and my mom is an amazing woman, but she's very, very quiet and gentle, and she watched all of it go on, and she didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And then when she left, he started on me. So I was the punching bag, and it's just crazy. Like, I have my sister right now is in her mid 40s and is affected. My brother is 10 years younger than me and is totally affected. Like, he doesn't do anything. He doesn't work. He doesn't do nothing. He doesn't really talk to anybody. He has like some kind of a problem with speaking to people, so he can't even, because he saw a lot, like when he was a baby, he saw a lot of that. Mm-hmm. And then I was a middle child that soaked in everything. So what it feels like is just tension in your body, like tension. And I understand now where anxiety comes from, is because, you know, like when you're a kid, you're not supposed to feel all that tension. You're not supposed to see all of that.
Yeah.
You know, but there's people that have worse situations too. Like I always tell myself, there's kids that went through worse. You know?
I hear you. I'm with you. I mean, there's always someone that's gone through worse. I mean, but I mean, at the same time, that's still not the key to healing. You know what I'm trying to say? The key to healing is acknowledgement of it, you know? And I mean, obviously I'm sure you've done that, you know, you seem like you said you have siblings that haven't taken it as well in terms of their own healing, you know? So let me ask you this. Like, number one, how did you know you're an empath, and what have you done? Like, what steps have you taken to heal from those early childhood traumas that you've endured?
Well, when I was a kid, I was very sensitive to things. I was sensitive to the weather. I was sensitive to like cold, like sudden changes of temperature. Like if the temperature would drop like slightly, I felt it, and I would voice it. I'd be like, "Oh, the temperature dropped," and people are looking at me like I'm crazy. But I would notice things like that, and I would notice like sound waves, like in my room. Like I would say to my sister, like, "Oh, I think somebody just turned the TV on," and she's looking at me like, "How could somebody turn a TV on?" And I'm like, I don't know, I just hear it. Mm-hmm. Like, I could just hear these high-pitched sounds. I would have, like, vivid dreams. I got sick a lot. Like, I got the flu a lot. If I would go out, we would go and we would drive, like, for, like, an hour in the car. As soon as I came out of the car, I would have to throw up. When they took me to Jamaica, the temperature changed from over here to Jamaica. I got a fever. Like, I don't know. It was just, I was always sensitive, and my parents didn't understand. Like, they didn't understand that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. They just knew that, like, I was sensitive, but they didn't understand it. And because of the environment I was in, like, they couldn't help me, you know. But as I got older, I didn't understand. I didn't even know about this empath thing until maybe 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. Maybe give and take 15, 20 years ago, I heard about it and I did research and I said, wait a second, that's me. Mm-hmm. That's me. So, but the thing I noticed that when I would look up information on being an empath, it's all like Caucasians. And I was like, but what about Black people that are empaths? Like,
yeah,
we already have one problem to deal with, but then being an empath on top of that, like, people don't understand these things. And that's probably why I sat down and I said, I gotta write something, even if it's not a thick book or anything. I just gotta write something because there's got to be other people like this.
Yes, exactly. Now let me ask you, what have you done to heal? Like, have you begun to meditate? Do you what tools do you use to get? Because you seem like this is just listening to you. You seem like you're a pretty strong, resilient person, but you come from a childhood of trauma, and I know that your siblings probably haven't fared as well as you have. So what is different about you? What have you used that maybe you can say that would maybe help others that may be listening to this to that have dealt with, parents that have maybe put them through trauma?
Okay, I could say that I used to work in film and TV, so I understand that film industry, and so I like movies, and I delve into like good books, and I used to read a ton of self-help books to help me out, and that kind of brought me to a different level. And I understand the ancestral realm, so
Mm-hmm.
I give respect. I ask for help, like guidance from my grandparents and stuff. Like I try on my own. I do a lot of spiritual things at home. Like I take my spiritual bath.
Mm-hmm.
I use a lot of mental power, like I guess alchemy,
Yes.
to for like when I cook, and even just the way I move around. I move around with I envision a protection, like a protective shield around me as I move around.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in music. I play a lot of music. Like music just takes me away. Like it feeds me. It feeds my soul.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I guess I found a way to live, learning about my history, learning about, I pay attention a lot to what like people before us used to do. Like I like to learn about how they used to do, like things that they used to do, how they used to cook, how they used to look after plants. And I read a lot. I read a lot of books, and I guess these books that I read, like I've read books from anywhere from Dr. Joe Dispenza
Mm-hmm.
to Layla Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot of books that helped me see things. I grew up going to church, but I was never really interested in church, even when I was going.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have a strong connection to I just say my creator.
Mm-hmm.
I look at, and the way I see my creator in all things.
Mm-hmm.
Like I own a cat. I see my creator in my cat.
Me too.
I see my creator.
What color is your cat? What kind of cat is your cat?
I have an orange tabby cat.
Oh man, I love one of the best cats I ever had was an orange tabby. Man, they're so affectionate. Is it a male?
It's a male. Yeah.
Yeah, the males are the best. I'm sorry, but but the male because them female cats they're doing their own thing. They don't got time for you. You notice that?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yo, female cats don't give a snot about you. They're like, but yeah, they're queens. They're queens. So that's what they're called. That's actually what they're called. Female cats are actually called queens for a reason. So, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But my cat, he talks like he's very vocal. Like it's funny to me. And I could be in the living room and I'll think about him, and it's like he heard me thinking about him, and he'll come walking out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I find that's so cool.
Some cat telepathy. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I just got like that. Yeah, I just recently kind of adopted a feral cat, and we're starting to kind of develop that a little bit. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think on the Facebook page that I have, I was thinking of just ideas for maybe possible topics for a podcast, and and a couple of those is healing using baths, and healing using crystals, and also healing with the assistance of animals. I'm trying to say I think it's important.
It's very important.
It is, because I really think that especially with empaths, our nervous system is something like a prey animal. I'm trying to say like I say an animal that might be preyed upon, or just like, for example, like
I see that.
You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. When I look at a deer, I'm like, oh, when you look at a deer's eyes, you know what I'm trying to say? You look at his eyes, and you're like, there's something about that is I can connect more with a deer's eyes sometimes, or even a cat's eyes, than probably like 80% of human beings.
I understand.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm like, there's something in there that is so innocent, and so, a certain spirit that you rarely find in most human beings, because of all this fear-based programming that we've been indoctrinated with, So
Yes.
so it's like you have to go back to the natural world to find that. So I find that interesting, and I think that's why I think that's I mean, we could talk about cats for days, but I just find like our relationship between animals be fascinating. What other animals do you like? What other animals do you like? And just in general that you kind of connect with.
I like elephants, but I haven't really been able to connect with or see one. Like I've never met one or anything like that. But I really love elephants and how sweet they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so horrified of the fact of what they did to elephants in Africa. It bothers me. Like I can't. But I like elephants and I like horses.
Mm-hmm.
And I like dogs too. But I just love cats.
Of course, absolutely. I recently found out that cats can they basically they clean your etheric body.
Oh yeah, I can
Yeah,
see
so
that.
like they take a lot of that negative energy away. Apparently, so like with some, I'm not sure how familiar you are with crystals, but some crystals like they'll take like the negative energy from you, but the energy will stay on the crystal. But with cats, they can take that negative energy and they transmute it. Like it doesn't affect them. So
yeah.
like
I
that's
think
why.
I heard about that. That's nice.
Yeah. There's a lecturer called Brother Panic, and he has a video speaking about that. So you definitely watch that at some point. But basically, I found that sometimes like there's things that intuitively as empaths we always know, but we don't sometimes know how to say it. I'm trying to say, but we know how it makes us feel.
Yeah.
And I know speaking to people that are other empaths, like they'll say like, yeah, I come home from work but when I pet my kitty, I feel great again. I'm trying to say? I just come home and
I know.
And I'm the same way, this second ago, I was feeling a certain way, I came back from work. I was like, come here, kitty, come snuggle with me in bed, I need some,
I know. And then they just take it away. You
exactly.
Feel it's comforting.
It is. And
but I think that's what it is. That's how I'm dealing with it. I've created an environment where it's me and my husband and my cat, and we try to live as natural as possible. And I find that's what is helping me. That the candles, the sage, like you said, the crystals, or the music. It's just an environment that I've created that helps me deal with that whole empathic. Oh boy, that's what helps me.